Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Millie and today I'm super excited about this video because I'm going to be using the new Nomad Cosmetics Studio 54 collection. And so they have a 4-pan eyeshadow kind of shimmer topper palette, and then there's 2 highlighters, and I'm so excited. Even when they were sneak peeking the collection, I was getting super excited because they have the coolest concepts, and just their execution and the packaging and just the amount of thought that goes into their collections is absolutely amazing. And I love that because that really sets the brand apart from everyone else. So first, let me show you the products I'm going to be talking about. First is the Studio 54 palette. And this is what it looks like. It has a really beautiful sparkly outside, and then here's the back. Nothing like too overdone, even though it is all glitter, but you know what I mean, like there's no like too many fonts and too many just like other things happening. It's really beautiful. And then this is what it looks like on the inside. Now they are calling this a multi-chrome Discoshadow palette, and I have some thoughts about the whole multi-chrome thing because that seems to be quite a like buzz trend word to use nowadays. So we're going to talk about that a little later. But first, let's ooh and ah over how beautiful these are. I'm really excited about the idea of a 4-pan palette. It's such a great idea. I am so over like really huge palettes, and this allows you to just pair this with whichever mattes you could ever possibly want from your collection. Next is the Disco Nights highlighter. And this is what the packaging looks like. Beautiful gold glitter, and then the back, and it's a stunning peach shade. I am so excited about this. I love peachy, yellowy, orangey kind of tones, especially on my face because I have a warm undertone. So I'm really excited about this. Slightly nervous that it might look like a little too dark on my skin tone, possibly, but I think they're pretty sheer from when I swatched them. And the last item in the collection is the highlighter Hot Shot, which has a really beautiful pink glitter packaging. Here's the back, super cute. And this is just a really stunning pink highlighter with a blue shift. And this shade is actually pretty similar to a shade from their palette, and then also sort of similar to 2 of the shades from the Nomad palette. But I will be doing swatch comparisons for you later on. And speaking of the Tokyo palette, I was really hoping that this collection would be the same formula as those duochromes on the bottom row of the Tokyo palette, but this is a quite different formula, I would say. It's more a harder press, it's more almost like thicker and waxier, and it's definitely flakier. And I will insert a photo up here of the just finger swatch comparisons. You can really see just how thicker the formula is in the Studio 54 collection. So I'm just super excited to put these on my face and see how they look on the eyes and on the cheeks. So I'm going to be doing 2 looks with the palette, and I'm going to pair that with some other matte eyeshadows, and then after that, once the eye looks are finished, I'm going to go and try both of the highlighters, one on each cheek. So let's get into it. This palette has these 2 upper shades, and they're pretty similar to some of the shades in the Tokyo palette. I'm not going to really try to focus on these. I do have a video up using the Tokyo palette and creating 4 looks with it, and I used both of the shades that are similar to this, so I will link that down in the description box. But I'm going to be focusing on these 2, but I definitely want to pair this yellow with the green, and then do this one maybe like on its own and just do this in a corner highlight or something. So we'll see. For these looks, I brought out my 3 Menagerie Cosmetics palette, the Feral, the Dragon Child, and the Whale Song, because I think all 3 of these have some really beautiful matte shadows that would complement these shimmers. I haven't done makeup in like 4 or 5 days, and I just feel like I've forgotten how to do everything. So I'm gonna first prime with the P. Louise base in shade 2. I'm so close to finishing this damn eyeshadow base that I'm just really trying to use it up. I will not be repurchasing, but actually, side note, I've been using it as concealer, and it's amazing under the eyes because I feel like this base in general doesn't really accentuate lines and doesn't look drying. It's really great for under the eyes, so it's good because I've been getting like double the usage out of it since I'm also using it under the eyes, and I'm just loving it. So I'm first gonna go in with Night Eyes from the Feral palette. I'm gonna put that in the crease. Putting this yellow on because I think it would be a really nice kind of way to connect the yellow shimmer with this. Next, I'm going in with Reef from the Whale Song palette, and oh my gosh, I forgot how powdery this formula is. I'm gonna kind of blend it into the yellow. in with the yellow. And the shade I'm going to be putting on in the center is going to be Got to Be Real. And it's pretty cool toned, so I'm going to go in with Bubble Net because it's a really cool toned green. Just going to pack that on. Then I'm going to go in with a smaller blending brush and blend out those edges. I'm actually going to dip into Night Eyes and put it just on the lid a little bit and kind of blend it, but not really worry about it too much. Because these are pretty translucent, they're definitely more like toppers. They do have some pigmentation, but the color that's underneath will definitely impact what they look like. But the color of the base will affect the way that they look. So I wanted to just put down a color to see, instead of putting it over like a skin tone, it might have much more impact. And next I'm going to go in with the Pixie Epoxy, just because it's a flakier formula, and even with the Nomad formula I still prefer using 3-in-8 Pixie Epoxy, just so I have hooded eyes and things don't want to stay. So we're gonna let that set just a little bit so it's not too wet. I'm first gonna pick up the shade Got to Be Real, and from swatching it, it's very hard pressed. It feels much harder pressed than the rest of the shades, and so it kind of hard panned on me pretty quickly because I just couldn't pick it up with my finger. But I'm just swirling, like really swirling my brush in there, and yeah, it's definitely not wanting to like pick up. Maybe I need a different brush. I'm gonna go in with Lip Freak now because the Pixie Epoxy is starting to dry down and I don't want to waste that. So let me try it with a finger, and that applies definitely better with a finger. I will just go back in a little bit with Bubble Net to make sure those edges are feathered out. So next I'm going to do the other look. Again, I'm going to prime with the Peely Space in the shade 0. And for this look I want to dip into some blues. So I'm going to go in with Cetacean from the Whale Song palette. And for this look I want to do like an all over the lid shimmer. I'm going to take just some setting powder and feather out the edges. Next I'm gonna dip into Barnacle. It's like a really beautiful, super cool toned, almost gray blue. We're just gonna pack that on. And then we're gonna blend the crease. So now I'm gonna put on the Pixie Epoxy again. I'm just gonna put it all on my lid, and then I'm gonna kind of tap it just so that I don't get any harsh edges in the crease. And this one picked up very easily. Gonna pack it on. I feel like you can see the flakiness when I first apply it, but then it kind of blends out into this beautiful like foiled shadow. And we're just gonna blend in the crease here a little bit. And now I kind of wish I added like a deep blue eyeshadow eyeliner, but it's fine. So I'm gonna put on lashes and mascara and concealer, and then I'm gonna come back. So I'm back and I put on the Kiss Lashes in the style Midnight, and I also finished off my all over lash line, which I just used the deep green back out here in the same shade I used on the lid on here. I put on the ColourPop Lippy Pencil in whatchamacallit, and on the other eye I used the ColourPop Gel Liner in Electric Daisy. So now I'm gonna go in for the inner corner, and I'm actually gonna do kind of like the opposite. So I'm gonna go in with Last Dance, even though it is kind of like a bluish tone. It's not really for the inner corner, but we're gonna do it anyway. And then for this side I'm gonna use Lip Freak. And now finally I'm gonna dip into the highlighters. So first I'm gonna use Hot Shot, which is this pink shade, and I'm gonna put it on this side of my face, and I'm using the Clionadh Cosmetics. It's like a eyeshadow blending brush actually, but it's way too big for my eyelids, so I use it for highlighter. And that is so beautiful. I'm actually really pleased on how this looks on my skin, because I was afraid that it's so chunky that it would kind of accentuate my skin texture. Really beautiful, and of course I could just keep piling it on. It's so so reflective. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to put on the other one now. So then on this side, I'm dipping into Disco Nights, which is this peachy color, which I'm so excited for. This one seems to look a little bit more sparkly than the other one. Look, I can see like sparkles on my cheek almost. But it's so beautiful, and it's actually not too dark at all. It's kind of like a beautiful peachy highlighter blusher for me, I think. Really, really stunning. Love it. And something I just realized is that the shimmers do seem to accentuate my kind of skin texture on my lids. So editing Millie here, I did try one of the shades without a tacky base and just use my finger to spread it out, and it definitely looked less textured than with the tacky base. However, I felt like it wasn't as sparkly, and it also creased on me throughout the day. So I think that's just a formula, but I definitely prefer a finger application as it kind of smooths out the flakiness. And also I tried to be careful and not apply too much. So zoomed out so I could give you some of my thoughts. Obviously, I've only used these this one time, so it's not like a full review. It's more like a first impressions, but I do feel like I don't see how these would apply differently another time, except for the eyeshadows, because of course, if I try them out wet or if I try them over a different tacky base, it might be different. So it is a first impression, so keep that in mind. So I think that these are absolutely stunning. I think the highlighters are my favorite. I'm probably going to be using those every day for who knows how long. They are just so gorgeous, and I just really love the way that they look on my skin. And so the highlighters are also called multi-chromes, but once you put it on the skin, it just, you can see two shifts. You can see the pink, and then you can see the blue, and then on this one I pretty much just see like a gold peach almost, I think. Even just when I swatched them, I did not see a multi-chrome effect. They were very just duochrome, but they are very dimensional, but they're just not like a typical multi-chrome where it shifts 3 or more colors. So it's more duochromatic, but it's multi-dimensional, but I don't think it's multi-chromatic, if that makes any sense. That was kind of a mouthful. And same with the palette. I think if anything, Le Freak, the yellow shade, has the most kind of multi-chrome effect. I think that one I could capture like another shift, but the others are Got to Be Real and Last Dance. I only see 2 shifts in them, but I didn't see a 3rd color shift. So I think these are really duochromes, and trust me, I have a lot of multi-chromes, so I feel like I would be able to tell if these were multi-chromes. But regardless, these are stunning. They're definitely multi-dimensional. They're beautiful, and I think it really depends on what you're looking for. So if you want a pink blue shifting highlighter, I would just get that and not the palette, because I think they're pretty much the same. So I think you could use I'm Coming Out as a highlighter, and it would be basically the same thing as Hot Shot. But the peach highlighter is definitely just chef's kiss. Like, seriously recommend that one. I'm really curious to see how a colored matte eyeshadow would affect the look of these. I definitely think that like a blue matte would really bring out the blue, and then like a pink would really bring out the pink. So I'm going to swatch these on a black base, and then also on top of a corresponding kind of color that you see in the actual eyeshadow. So here I have the 4 different shades, and they're on top of different colored eyeshadows. So I'm Coming Out has a blue-pink shift. So I put it on top of a pink and a blue, and as you can see, if you put it on a pink, it really shows the pink. Not really as much as the blue anymore. And then if you put it on the blue, it shows the blue. And then same thing with Le Freak. When you put it on yellow, it just really shows the yellow. And when you put it on the red or like a reddish orange, it really brings out the other shift. And I think Last Dance just looks a little different on different bases, but that's pretty much just because one eyeshadow is lighter than the other. And then Got to Be Real was almost impossible for me to swatch. It did not want to transfer onto my arm from my finger. I had to mush it around to try to get the swatch. And that shade just looks maybe a little different, but it's due to the lightness versus the darkness of the 2 colors. Here's a comparison swatch with Le Freak from the Studio 54 palette and Zaku Zaku from the Tokyo palette. So Le Freak has a more reddish orangey shift, while Zaku Zaku's is more of a purple shift. And here's also an example of Le Freak swatch next to what I think is a true multi-chrome, and this is Clionadh Cosmetics Halo. As you can see, it just has so many different shifts versus Le Freak. And then here are some comparisons between I'm Coming Out and Decora and Otaku from the Tokyo palette, as well as I'm Coming Out versus the highlighter. You can see that I'm Coming Out is pretty much exactly the same as the highlighter. I had a lot of fun and I cannot wait to play more with these. I will definitely try them wet. I will also definitely try them on a different tacky base. Thank you so much for watching and I hope to see you next time.